Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel Cosmo by Kels. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Raquel and I'm really happy that you scrolled upon this video and you selected it and you're here to spend some time with me. Everyone else, welcome back to my channel, guys. How are you? Good to see you. Today I will be doing an eyebrow look. I can't believe that I've never filmed an eyebrow look. I guess I've only done them on Instagram, but by popular demand it was requested, so I'm just going to show you guys how I'm doing my eyebrows these days. Before we continue, of course, subscribe down to my channel if you're not one of my homies already, and if you like the video, don't forget to thumbs up. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. I'm there all the time. Let's be friends. Let's network, okay, guys? So, without any further ado, let's just jump right into it. So, my go-to for, I want to say the last 3 months and prior to that, has been the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz, and I use the shade Granite, which is the darkest shade. I like this brow pencil primarily because it is dual-ended. The tip is so fine. It's going to be able to create quick strokes to make it look like I actually have brow hairs there. There's a lot that you can do with a finer tip. If I had more eyebrows, you know, like I have thinner brows, if I had a thicker brows, I would be using the Brow Definer by Anastasia Beverly Hills, which has a thicker tip. But I have scarce brows, and if you have scarce brows, you're going to get something to be very defined so you can draw it and not have to go back and conceal and reshape your brows. So I choose this for the defined tip, and it is dual-ended, so it has the spoolie as well. It's like a 2-in-1. I always start at the highest point of my brows. Now, if you have thicker brows or you have no brows, you know, maybe you have no brows at all, maybe you start from a different way. But for those of us who have a little bit of a foundation, I would suggest starting right there at the tip, at the tippiest point of your brows. So I just lightly start defining that with small strokes so they can mimic my brow hairs, and just to fill in the gap right there. And then after I do that, because that is very important, if you can see that I just filled in that small little gap with very little product. And then I just continue with small strokes, and I shape out the end of my brow, and then with small strokes, that's when I bring it forth, the front of the brow. So very light strokes, because you don't want to use a heavy hand to look like you got those box brows from 2014. We're not gonna do that, okay? Very light hand here. And then I just go to the tippiest part of the upper eyebrow and I draw in my wing. Still with small strokes, so you know where you're going. And just let your eyebrow be your guide. And again, then I just start tracing. I stop about right here, because this, with that little hair you see right there, the little bit of hair I got, that's where I want to taper it. And you don't want to put too much product there, because then it's just going to look like a box brow. You need to have some hair flow right there. So I don't bring the product up towards the front part of my brow where it's supposed to be tapered. That's when I go to the back end and I just, with small strokes again, with quicker strokes this time, start actually filling in the brow, and I will be going up to mimic the eyebrow hairs and just filling it in really quickly, remembering to stop right there where I want it to be tapered. You can also rest your hand on your face for more control. The middle and the wing of my brow is darker than the beginning, and that's what you want. If you want a taper brow, you're gonna need to have the clear line with it being lighter and darker. So that's when I flip it over And then I start brushing everything up. And out, because we want it to look like brow hairs. And by brushing the product, that's when it begins to mimic. And then some of the product from the spoolie, when you're brushing it, will be transferred to the beginning part where it's tapered, and that's about all the product that you're going to need. If you don't have hairs right here, like I don't have many hairs, sometimes you can take this in very lightly and just at an angle, stroke up, but be careful. And then after I brush it through, I go to the top and I just brush the hair towards its natural brow shape. And then if I've brushed too much, then I just go in the same strokes and go upwards just to redefine. And again, then we're just brushing through. So after you've gotten your desired shape and how dense you want your brows, how dark, how light you want them, how tapered you want them, you're just gonna go through with either a tinted brow gel, whatever your preference is, or a clear brow gel. And this is very essential. I find that girls just put on their brows and then they'll be on the ground by the end of the day. And I always say that to my makeup clients, like, I have to set your brows so they won't be on the ground. They're like, I have no idea what that means, Raquel. But that's what it means, because your skin produces its natural oils. Regardless if your skin is dry, it's going to have oils. And you know, if you put the product on throughout the day, the brow product is going to start to oxidize, and then they'll start melting or start looking oily, and you don't have time for that. And this is just a clear brow gel. Some brow gels that I would suggest for you that are amazing, like amazing, you're gonna have to scrub your brows off, would be the Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter, Anastasia Beverly Hills Clear Brow Gel, or the Rommel London Brow Gel. So the key to having a sharp and realistic looking, natural, defined brow is a good brow pencil or powder or pomade, how to work with that product and brush it through your brows to create hair-like strokes, how to set your brow, and also having a good concealer that is not too over the hill, you know, too light or too dark for you. So what I use for my brows does vary. Like I said, it depends on the day. I have a lot of makeup. Some days I'm feeling this brand, some days I'm feeling that brand, some days I might want a little bit more of a defined highlight underneath my eyebrow. But most days, what I use underneath my eyebrows is the MAC Studio Finish Concealer in NC45. Now, NC45 is the shade of my foundation from MAC, and I like to use this because it just does its job. It cleans the eyebrow up really nice and clean. It's the same color as my skin. It's a thicker concealer, so there's a lot jam-packed into this small little container. Actually, I've been using this one for like 3 months, and I barely hit pan, because you only need so much product. And what I'm going to be doing is just picking up a little bit of that MAC concealer with my brow brush from Real Techniques, and I'm going to be cleaning up underneath my eyebrow. Now, I always start at the beginning of my brow. Any mistakes that you've made while brushing out your brows or setting it or filling it in can be cleaned up with concealer. It's like repenting when you're doing your brows. You know, it just cleans up everything. You feel so much better. Once you have traced where you want the arch to be, where you want your eyebrow to begin, then you begin taking the product down onto your eyelid and into your crease, blending it out. So that is complete. And I also always take it a little bit there so I can have, and then I'll bring it over here, you know, for the bases of my other brow, because I want both brows to start at the same point. Now, this is completely optional. A lot of people just use their foundation, but for me, since my concealer is the same color as my foundation, I just trace over my brow to have a more defined look. That's where a lot of the confusion comes in as well, because you'll have this lighter concealer and people can clearly know that you've done your brows. When I do over my brow, I don't pick up any more product. I just use whatever was left on the brush because I don't want it to be overly defined or, you know, too much product, so it'd be melting and stuff. So, and then I turn the brush to the side to have more control of where I'm putting this product. And you can go in with a brush, but for me, I just use my finger and I blend that up and into my same with here. Ta-da! All done. Keep in mind that your brows aren't going to be 100% symmetrical. You know, you have to do the best that you can. Some brows are arches are higher than others, some don't have an arch. You know, what you can do is just eyeball it and know the points of your brows. And how you can know where to start your brows is by angling from the tip of your nose, and then you turn, and that's how you know where your arch should be. Boom. You can get Brow Wiz online at AnastasiaBeverlyHills.com. You can get it at Sephora or Ulta, and you can get MAC at Ulta now. You can get MAC concealers at Ulta, so you can rack up on your points. Let me know if you think my brows are fleeky. Let me know if you learned something. Let me know if you want me to do a tutorial using brow powder and pomade. Until next time, I will see you in the next video. You guys have an amazing rest of your day. Don't forget to thumbs up this video and subscribe to my channel. Mwah.